To this story now, 5 illegal miners have been rescued in Khuma location near Klerksdorp in the northwest. Residents estimate that around 4,500 suspected illegal mine workers could still be underground. They're concerned about their health as well as safety. The residents have urged the government to offer them assistance. All right, for a further discussion on this matter, Macua National Coordinator Meshack Mbangula, as well as mining analyst and lead researcher at Benchmarks Foundation, David van Wyk, join us. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on the program. Gentlemen, we're monitoring a very volatile and concerning situation unfolding at Shaft 11. 5 illegal miners, as stated in that intro, have already been rescued, but by community members who have also shared that there are several bodies underground. David, let's just start with your views as a mining analyst on this whole situation.
Well, I think that the situation is very unfortunate, and it reflects a level of confusion and chaos in the Department of Minerals and Energy, as well as the extent to which mining companies disregard the law and the extent to which they simply behave in whichever way they please. If we look at Margaret Mine, the Margaret Water Company operates there. And I can't understand how it is that that water company is operating there simultaneously with a whole range of people being underground. The other thing that really concerns me is the fact that we are having a transition in this country from large-scale industrial mining to small and medium-scale mining, but no one is planning for it. And so thousands of workers are getting retrenched, and they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to feed themselves, and they come back into the mines as cheap labor. Well, not even as cheap labor, as very super exploited people being exploited by syndicates and so on. I'm really worried about the situation in the country at the moment. We have dying mining towns, and we have lots and lots of people trapped underground right now. And their constitutional rights to life and to administrative justice and so on being totally ignored as well.
I want us to touch on this artisanal mining and what can be done here in this respect just a bit later on. But Meshack, just to rope you in, your take on this situation that's unfolding.
Firstly, it's very important that we should be able to assist taking out those people, save the life of the people underground, and then other processes can be followed. But as David said, I find it very strange for the government not to act to save the life of people out there, because what put those people down there, it's poverty, unemployment. And as long as there's this poverty, people will go down there because they need to put bread on the table. But what we are asking now is, let's save the people's life, take out there and make sure that they live. And those people, it's not a big thing that they've done, it's just a trespass. And that trespass, like David indicates, when the mine closes down, where do they expect those people to go? Let's save the life first.
We cannot say it's a small or minor thing that they have done, because we do know the Minerals and Petroleum Act specifically indicates or prohibits anyone going underground a mine without the necessary permit. So most certainly there is an illegal offence here. There is an offence, but nevertheless the issue of lives need to be saved. What we've seen today. Pardon me just for interjecting. Just pardon me for interjecting there. We've seen today, as per reports, and we've had our reporter on the ground the whole day, that it's been left to community members to actually rescue these illegal mine workers. What do you make of that, Meshack? Because, we've seen police, they've been at the top, they've been monitoring, they've been patrolling, but it has had to be community members who themselves are unsafe and not trained to be going underground, who have come out to rescue these illegal mine workers. What does it say about our capacity?
You see, what the government knows very well, there are people, there are engineers, there are people who are working in the mines who knows how to get underground and save the life of people. That can be done. They have the capacity of organizing such people to help these people. But for this, they just want to close the holes and leave the people on the ground for them to die. But what we are saying is that there are commercial mines which are illegal. They are not having licenses. But because they are foreign mines which are taking a lot of profits, nobody cares about it. Nobody is taking action against such mines which don't have licenses, but they are operating. Why only these black people who are poor who are trying to make a living? If they do what is legal. Let them hold accountable these big mines that don't have licenses as well.
David, your take, it seems Meshack is pressing on this push, or at least on this one aspect of somehow regulating this artisanal mining, as some have called it, and not necessarily illegal mining.
Well, I think that we have contributed to the government policy regarding artisanal mining and small-scale mining, and the government has adopted that policy, and they need to actually implement the policy, which they don't seem to be doing. And they don't distinguish between those people who have registered as artisanal miners and people who they consider to be illegal when they have these operations. But besides that particular point, they need to organize, well, first of all, they need to do an audit of all abandoned mines. They need to prosecute all the mine owners who abandoned those mines and did not rehabilitate them. And they actually need to plan for a transition from large-scale industrial mining to small-scale and artisanal mining in this country, because that is the future. The large industrial-scale mining companies are all leaving the country. They're leaving the country because it's no longer profitable to mine, because the amount of minerals that are left there and the cost of mining those minerals are too exorbitant for them to do.
Yeah.
But small-scale miners can still get at those minerals and actually draw them up. And if they are organized into cooperatives, and engineers and geologists and safety officers are assigned to every 5 cooperatives of illegal miners, you can actually run a system that works. You can.
But would those not geologists be costly themselves? Because there is a real danger that many have spoken of, that if you are mining in a specific or near specific community, you do have then issues, seismic movement in those communities where people could be in danger, their houses could be demolished, etc. So would it not be expensive to even bring in the geologists?
Well, you see, the thing is that if you create a central buying agency and you buy from the artisanal miners as the government, you can take a percentage of the profit. You pay them less that percentage to pay the costs of that mining. It is possible to do that. The other thing is that you can see communities are helping to rescue these people. So there's a myth that that communities and artisanal miners are in conflict with each other. They are not in conflict with each other. It's not true. It's also a myth that these are all foreigners. They are not all foreigners. Many of them are South Africans, and they are mixed groups in these groups. There's a lot of myths that have been put out by the government and by the Department of Mineral Resources, because the department does not want to deal with this economic problem. Therefore, it turns it into a security and policing problem. And it's not a security and policing problem.
But David, we cannot say with certainty that there is no conflict between community members and some of these miners, because as far as we understand, most that have been gathered there are actually family members of those that are trapped underground. So we cannot necessarily say with certainty, but I do take your point that probably some of them do believe that these miners contribute to the economy in that area. But most certainly, there's still a broader conversation to be had here. You touched on it, the responsibility of those who are operating the mines, those who held the prospecting rights. Just talk us through their responsibility before we shift to Meshack.
Well, I think that the MPRDA clearly states, Section 44 onwards, that a mining company is supposed to actually close and rehabilitate the mine before the end of life of mine. They're also supposed to contribute funds to a centralized fund, a mine closure fund, of which fund is now standing at about 50 billion rands. But we don't see that it is being used. In 150 years of mining, I believe there's only one mine closure certificate that has ever been issued.
Now, Meshack, we understand that there could be a number of dead bodies underground at this point. But when also speaking to our reporter, we understand that police have decided that certain community members can actually take food and water underground. This whole situation is quite confusing, because one cannot understand why we cannot have emergency personnel being the ones to go underground, because if it's a deadly or dangerous situation underground, you wouldn't want to send an ordinary civilian down there. But it seems police have allowed this process. You've got ordinary community members going underground to get food and water. And one wonders then if they would still want to come out if there's now food and water underneath.
Yeah, you see, that tells you what type of government we are facing, who really don't care about the communities. Because like David indicates, we should have organized professional people to organize and see what is happening underground. Those people who went underground, they are facing the issues of poverty and trying to get something. But unfortunately, when underground, things are not maybe the same. And some of them have been told that there's a lot of gold and so on. And when they go, they find the situation different. But what really disturbed us is that the MPRDA itself, the law, should have permitted these people. We should have, from 2014, we have engaged the government to say, let's transform this sector so that we can be able to generate jobs to make this place safe. And we are facing issues of high unemployment rate. If by then, from 2014 to now, we have worked on this sector to transform it to a sector that can even contribute to the economy of the country. But unfortunately, the government has been stubborn from then, and now it's out of hand, and they only want to close their holes. And how can you send the police to close the holes when they don't even know how mining works? We need the right people to go and take out those people there and do that. We need that life of those people to be saved, and make sure that we look at the processes that needs to be followed.
But police committed. Pardon me for interjecting, but last year, when this became a big issue of illegal mining in many towns, even here in Johannesburg, police committed that they were going to resource and upskill in order for them to actually decisively deal with illegal mining. So one assumed that they've been upskilling themselves, in as much as there were critics, experts in the mining space that said you cannot have police officers going underground. It's a different terrain. They just might not have what it takes to go there. So one wonders then, because there was a commitment that they will be upskilling and resourcing themselves.
You see, the police knows nothing about mining. And the people who know about mining is geologists, metallurgists, and everything. And now you send the wrong people to do a certain job, and they won't make it, because if they were trained enough, they would be saving those people. They're just standing there with the people, the communities, who the communities took the chances of trying to save those people. Money is being wasted. A lot of money is being wasted by the minister to say, I'm going to close their holes. And if you understand mine got different shafts. You can close this hole and they will come out of another shaft. You need definitely to work with people that knows what is happening. But at the end of the day, as long as there's poverty, people will go down there. We need to do alternatively so. If we say these people must not go there, where will they get jobs? Like David is indicating, not everyone is from outside, but there are South Africans that are working there. And they are there because of the poverty that is caused by the very system that we failed to create decent jobs for the people.
Gentlemen, insightful conversation, but unfortunately we have run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. That was Macua National Coordinator Meshack Mbangula and mining analyst and lead researcher at the Benchmarks Foundation, David van Wyk, speaking to us. More news on the other side of this break. Do stay with us.